Alrighty, so we got a special one in today, guys. This is the brand new release from Spyderco at the Golden, Colorado factory. This is the Manix 2 Lightweight in CPM SPY27. So this is a steel that Spyderco created in collaboration with Crucible Industries and announced at the beginning of the year that they would be using. And they announced two different models at that time, which was this one, the Manix 2 Lightweight, as well as the Para 3. And they were all supposed to be in this cobalt blue, a dark blue color scheme with the handles and a satin finished SPY27 blade. And they released the Para 3 and everybody seemed to like it pretty good. And we were all waiting on this one to drop, or a lot of us were. And then they announced the Native and the Mule Team fixed blade in SPY27, and the Native dropped, and now here we are at the end of the year, and they finally released the Manix, but they changed the color on us. So according to Spyderco, as a lot of you may know, this is fiberglass reinforced copolymer, where most of the most of the scales, the plastic scales that they use, are what they call FRN, which is fiberglass reinforced nylon. So it's a different type of plastic, and apparently they couldn't get the colors to match the way that they wanted, so they decided to change the color on this one to this, what they're calling mineral blue. So if you're wondering why this doesn't have a dark blue scale, that is the reason. But you know, I was a little bit disappointed about it when I heard this, but honestly, I think it looks great. I really like this color, and I'm digging it, definitely. So SPY27 is a powdered metal stainless steel with a good bit of cobalt in the matrix, as well as some vanadium and some other things. It should have similar performance to something like S30V or S35VN, maybe a little bit less edge retention than those two, but similar corrosion resistance level and similar toughness. And from what I hear, some of the other blades that they did earlier in the year were testing at about 62 HRC, so maybe it'll be a little bit better in terms of the edge retention than we originally thought it was going to be. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. It's funny, nobody or none of the edge retention testers on YouTube have actually tested this steel yet. I sort of found that curious because it's a brand new steel on the market and no well-known testers actually tested it yet. So I find that kind of odd, considering they've tested about every other steel on the market at this point. So I thought that people would be giddy to get their hands on this and test it and see how it performed, but apparently not. Gerald at Outpost 76 told me a few months ago that he was going to test it and was looking forward to doing so, but just hadn't got any yet. So hopefully we'll see him do that soon. And actually, I think I'm going to test this one myself. Definitely going to run it through my little performance test or toughness test, and I may do an edge retention test on it as well and record it for you guys so you guys can see, just to have a data point out there. And hopefully it'll be accurate and match with what Gerald does and Tom does. But I just really want to see how it does. I've been kind of waiting on this model to come out, or something like this, a stainless steel sort of in that mid-range where S30V or maybe an M390. I've been waiting on this particular model, the Manix 2 Lightweight, to be made in a steel like this for a long time. And they've got the BD1N, they've got S110V, but they don't have a steel with good edge retention and good corrosion resistance, besides the S90V Cutlery Shop exclusive and the S110V. But both of those steels are extremely wear resistant steels that don't hold a fine edge for very long, and this is sort of more what I was looking for, something that maybe holds a fine edge a little bit longer and is good in stainless as well. So I'm excited about this. So let's take a look at the knife itself, and it seems like they did a pretty good job with it. Nice satin finish on the blade, looks really well done. The edge bevel is very consistent and very sharp from what I can tell. Let's see. Oh yeah, super sharp. Their edges are always very sharp out of Golden, Colorado. So really good job on that. The plunge grind is nice and square, so it'll be easy for me to sharpen all the way back to it. The only really bad thing I see about this blade is that little, where they kind of gouge it out right there. It just kind of makes it a little aggravating to sharpen all the way back. And that's just a nitpick for me, really. Not a huge deal at all. They've chamfered the hole on this a little bit, as well as the spine, so there's no real sharp edges on here besides the jimping a little bit. And the jimping actually looks pretty good on this compared to some of the others I've seen. They cut it out with a laser, I believe, and a lot of times it'll have a bunch of slag hanging on it. So this actually looks really good for Golden, Colorado jimping in comparison to a lot of others I've seen. And yeah, they did a really good job with this blade. I'm digging it so far. And then nice mineral blue color. I definitely like this color. I was skeptical about it when I saw the pictures, but in person it's a really good looking color, at least in my opinion. And the action of this out of the box was decent. It wouldn't fall closed, but I flicked the blade open when I got it, and the action was very smooth upon opening. When I went to close it, it had a little bit of lock stick. It made a popping sound when I disengaged it. So I tried to open it 10 or 15 times. Didn't change anything. So I put a dab, a KPL right there on the tang of the blade where it interacts with the ball, or the cage ball bearing, and flicked it back open and went to close it, and that's all it took. One try and the lock stick was gone, and I adjusted the pivot, just barely turned it out just a hair, and now it drops closed. So I'm definitely happy with the action on this. It's perfectly centered. Everything just looks really well done, and I'm happy with this particular variant. I think it looks good. I'm excited about trying the steel out, and excited to sharpen it and just get to testing on it and using it and see how it performs. So hope you guys enjoyed. There's your initial thoughts and unboxing. Hope you enjoyed and found it useful, and stay tuned for more on this one for sure.